Welcome, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time to spend the day with us today. It's great to be back in India. I love coming. It's been several years since I've been able to come, but it's great to be back and meet with all the customers here. And also to spend time with our local team here. I think you're very fortunate as customers here in India. We have one of the greatest teams in any commercial software organization. If you guys look at our teams in commercial sales, you look at our teams in services, our teams in support, very proud of the team we've built here. Many of them have been with us for over a decade and continue to provide great support for you customers. As Kapil said, I deal with strategy. I deal not with the next feature that's going to come out next month, but really kind of thinking broader about what you need, the global scientific community, to do your job better. And I really enjoy having this type of events where I get to spend time, not just with one customer at a time, but with a group of customers together. We do as much as that as we can because it's really your input that drives what we do in our platform. So looking forward to the rest of the day. Please come and find me with any questions. And I always welcome any chance to open up a discussion about what your needs are. For today, I'm going to do sort of two halves to my presentation. The first half is kind of looking back at what were our priorities last year, over the last 18 months, and how they've come to fruition. So a little bit of a retrospective of what's come recently, or what's just coming online. And then on the second half, I'll talk about what we're thinking about, sort of farther looking out into the future. So the first one is, Ralph already mentioned, is a kind of integrated workflows. We released back in April of 23 the Signals Research Suite, which is the fully integrated SaaS platform with all of our capabilities, from data capture and collaboration to data processing and analytics, all in one combined SaaS platform. It's really our flagship offering that combines all of our capabilities in one. And this is just a smattering of a few of the things that have come into the platform over the last 6 months or so. Some of my favorites. There's really new things coming out, multiple times a year, but these are some of the ones that I think have had the biggest impact. First in April was the release of the full platform. Then we added a key capability, which we call worksheets. This is a further structured data capability. I think it's quite beneficial as you start thinking about GXP or more structured process data, even for formulations, how to capture not just the composition, but also the process of formulating. It was evolved over multiple releases last year, but it's now become a fairly mature piece of the platform that allows for kind of a form-based organization of your data. The integration of the analysis platform within the SaaS product has been great. So you get now dashboards natively embedded within the product. Those dashboards are built out with Spotfire and can be designed by your scientists to present their results with a real scientific depth. Great addition to the platform. And also continued with the integration of things like entity registration into the system, being native capability of the platform, and being able to access those entities directly from the experiments, being able to register and to retrieve and document materials that are being used directly from there. The second one, we spent a lot of time over the last 2 years, especially the Chemdro team, thinking about those new and underserved modalities. As you all know, a lot of the pharma industry continues to move towards more complex, larger molecules or other therapeutic forms. And the common theme there is that they're more complex to generate compared to small molecule chemistry, multi-step complex workflows, and there's needs for very specialized tools. So we've taken the lead. Once again, Chemdro has been the leader in how you represent chemistry for decades, and now we've taken a definite lead in how you represent some of these more complex molecules, especially biopolymers, with the introduction of Helm design capabilities. We recognize the need for a centralized way to manage non-standard monomer units that are used to build this complex compounds. So we built a monomer management services directly in the platform, and then fully integrated the design experience and the capture of chemical information for biopolymers within Signals Chemdro. We also continue to evolve our capabilities in the sequence-based chemistries. We added specific elements for RNA and protein sequences. We added blast search natively in the platform, both in the notebook as well as in the analytics layer of the platform. And so continue to really focus our attention well beyond our historical strength, which is small molecule chemistry, into all of the new chemical modalities and therapeutic modalities that we continue to hear from the industry are not being properly served. This is a big initiative. This, going back about 4 years now, we really decided this was one of the most critical problems in the industry. I think you're all very familiar with it. Many of you, in fact, provide services as contract organizations. And we all know that this is an area where the systems, the processes haven't really changed that much over the years and are quite deficient in terms of how the sponsors communicate with the researchers remotely, how the data flows bidirectionally for the work to be performed, for the results to come back. We've known about it, we've heard about it from customers for years, all the pain points that exist in this space. So we decided that because of the great adoption of the Signals platform, we were in a unique position in the industry to help with this problem, to really provide tools on top of the platform that would help that collaboration. And when we talk about collaborations, it's pretty broad. It can be anything from commercial research, external organizations to academic partnerships, really, a broad definition of what collaborating is about. And in the next few weeks, before the end of the spring, we will be releasing a new license type within Signals. We call it Signals Synergy. And it aims to solve some of these problems. It focuses on first capturing the ideas of the project, what we're trying to accomplish. If it's a synthesis project, what are the compounds that are to be created and why, and kind of the documentation of the hypothesis and the ideas, as well as the collection of compounds to be generated. It includes a work queue handling system, so a methodology for gathering all the information necessary for the external collaborators to build and do the work they're being asked to do. And it's all bundled together to be sent electronically through the platform itself, avoiding the use of email or other more informal ways to communicate the intention and the work to be done. It also includes tracking tools, Kanban board, common sharing collaboration tools for the team across the multiple organizations to see the evolution of the project, to track progress, to change direction as new things are learned in the project. It includes comprehensive security tools and administration tools to enable self-service for the external organizations. They can manage their own users, they can add and remove users, arrange groups of users depending on what's happening on the ground. We understand this is a very fluid business where people come and go and get reassigned into different projects, different customers, so a lot of tools to make it easy to onboard and offboard the users into the system without the overhead of administration, and also with high security. We learned from working with the community what's important in setting up the security in a way that's guaranteed to not leak information that shouldn't be transferred. It includes native support for alternate identifiers and anonymization of data, a very fine control of the data that gets shared. And finally, and probably the most impactful one, is the way the data comes back from the external partner into the organization. We all are very familiar with the myriad of Excel templates that get generated by different organizations, how those templates are very well structured for human consumption, for data entry and for management, but not so good for processing by the machines. So we've built a very innovative tool to be able to manage a library of parsers that can take that data from all the external organizations and systematically bring it into a format that's consistent and deliver it into the Signals platform, as well as other platforms if the sponsors are using other environments. And looking forward to, in a few weeks, when this gets released into beta, and looking forward to the feedback from the community, because it was one of the things that we dreamt up several years ago, and we're dying to see how it plays in the market. The next one you'll hear a lot more a little later from our colleagues at Cytera, but we recognized a few years back the importance of lab automation and integration of systems. This is something that has existed in the industry for many years, but it's been always a very inefficient, challenging, expensive proposition to automate your lab, to integrate your various devices and instruments, to integrate multiple systems that can cooperate. We've all done it, we all continue to do it, but in a very slow and expensive way. So after looking around the industry and figuring out who had the best technologies, we selected Cytera as our key partner. I think the thing that has changed significantly in this space is the fact that now software is delivered on the cloud via software as a service. And even if that may be a little counterintuitive, that actually makes the integration easier. In fact, it makes the integration really possible at scale and with improved simplicity. So we selected Cytera because they have the leading SaaS platform for doing these types of connections. And a really important part of the value proposition here is that we are working together with Cytera to develop native connectors to Signals and Signals workflows. That means very reusable components that you can pick up and use in your integrations. You don't have to start from the ground up. They're already pre-built. We continue to enhance them and build them as we learn from customer engagements, and that provides a mechanism for bringing up these integrations much more rapidly, much more efficiently, much lower cost, and much easier to maintain over time. So very excited. This is still early days, getting the product that we launched at the end of last year out to the market and first production implementations. But I think this is something that once you get to the first phase of having the Signals platform, it's the most impactful thing, being able to automate the processes to integrate the devices. It will really have an impact on your business. And finally, I picked an example from the clinical space. We do have a pretty robust business around clinical trial analytics. We focus ourselves not on the operational aspects of clinical trials, but on the scientific analysis of the data coming out of the trials. We've had a very robust practice for about 15 years, mostly around Spotfire and services for delivering solutions, analytic solutions into the space. And what we're doing here is we're really productizing it. So taking a lesson from what we've done in research with the SaaS delivery of the software, with full product-based, minimizing the amount of professional services and customizations. We've really packaged the clinical solution, first with the data management piece that allows the modeling, import, and management of the results coming out of clinical trials. And then the pre-built analytics that are out of the box, ready, analytical workflows for that segment, as well as extensibility within the platform if you want to make additional analytic dashboards within the platform. And finally, built-in collaboration tools. That's something that's common to all of Signals. We really think about the users. We think about what their needs are in each individual role and build those collaboration tools across the platform. This was released, I think, towards the end of last year with an additional 2 releases in early 24. So as always, very rapid evolution. That's another part of productizing in delivering in SaaS, right? The biggest promise of this brave new world is that the software is always getting better, as Ralph said earlier. So I think that wraps up sort of the first part, which is what we've accomplished recently. To me, this is things that we were thinking about going back 3, 4, 5 years, but I'm very proud to see them sort of come out now. They're all real. They're all shipping software, and they're all having an impact in the industry. Now let's switch gears a little bit as to sort of what am I thinking about right now? What are we discussing with you, the customers? What are we trying to solve in the next couple, 3 years? So I picked out 4 of the things that we're thinking about. The first one, from knowledge capture to drive execution. We recently baptized that one with a new name. We call it Labgistics. And we're very excited about it. It's a really large initiative, really ambitious initiative, but I think if we get it right, it's going to be really impactful for the whole industry. Let me walk you through. So today, I think we're an excellent system for what I call knowledge capture. Right? So it doesn't matter what type of science you're doing, anywhere in the whole spectrum of pharma development or materials science development, how complex the experiment is, what type of data you're gathering, and so forth. We have a system that's great, very flexible at capturing what you learned from the experiment. How you did the experiment, what the results were, what your decisions were around those results, and so on and so forth. That's knowledge capture, right? That's what electronic notebooks have been about for years. That's what our broader research platform is about, a really excellent knowledge capture tool. But that's not enough. The one thing we hear over and over and over, the more people like our platform, the more they come in and say, hey, can it help me, plan my experiment? Can it help me execute my complex workflows? Can it remind me to pull my cell lines out of the incubator? Can it, manage my sample lineage and tell me when I need to get the next batch and prepare my resources to execute my experiments? And we unfortunately have to say no. Right? That's not who we have been. That's not what the knowledge capture system is. That kind of driving the execution of what happens in the lab, whether it be automated or manual. It's not what's been our core competency. We've really been in the knowledge management space. We're changing that. It's a very bold move, but we really, we've heard it enough. It's like we have to be responsive to what you guys are telling us. You need a system. You like our system. You need a system that helps you execute and do more. So we're going to set out, hired new teams over the last few months. Huge investment. It's going to take us time. This is not something we can turn over overnight. But I think we have the right platform, the right team, the right knowledge, and the right process to begin delivering things beyond knowledge capture into execution. So what needs to happen there is we need to become much more sample-centric as well as process-centric. Today, everything we do is sort of an experiment, a very flexible experiment, but it's always an experiment. So now you're going to see some very scalable, traceable, and plannable sample tracking capabilities. It's workflow and scheduling capabilities, and very much process-centric. And we believe that those things, adding that sample management, that process management, that planning capability, is beneficial across the whole spectrum. It begins with research. Some of these new modalities we were talking about earlier are so complex that there's 12 teams, 52 steps in preparing cell lines, cloning, purifying, and it all has to be coordinated, planned, executed, tracked. Right? So it begins all the way back in research, but those same concerns kind of reoccur again in development when you're actually scaling up some of this new, more complex processes, and even goes into the QA, QC, and manufacturing. So we're at the same time providing the tools to research. That's our short-term goal. We already work with those customers very directly. We understand their pain, but really with an eye of really redefining what a lot of these systems have been over the years, right? Blurring the lines between what should be a LIMS system, a lab execution system, even a manufacturing system. So when I come back, a few years from now, hopefully, the platform will have been redefined from just the research knowledge capture to much broader single platform that addresses a wider community, more into the late stage development and even manufacturing, but also that provides a comprehensive set of tools to help everybody be more efficient about doing their science. And I think it's obvious how this dovetails into the instrument data acquisition, integration, lab automation, right? So with those execution capabilities and planning capabilities, you also want that automation to come from Cytera and our partners. Very proud, ChemDraw is our oldest product. I was there when it first started back in the, in the early days, very near and dear to my heart, and it continues to improve. It's really amazing how a 35-year-old, 40-year-old product, we can continue to make really impactful changes to it. And we just did one. We released a few weeks ago Signals ChemDraw. And that's obviously the evolution of ChemDraw itself into the Signals platform, into the SaaS delivery model. It immediately improves the life of our scientists, being able to get much more frequent releases, no more software activation, right? You just use the software like every other platform. You just log in, software is better every morning when you get there, new features, new capabilities, integrated with the whole ecosystem. You can find your content, you can share your content, you can collaborate, you can build reports, you can share those reports, right? So really leveraging the whole Signals ecosystem. Pierre, he was a big, proponent of this capabilities for years. He drove it when he was a product manager. He continues to really evangelize around it. Please talk to him. He can show you, he can tell you. His team can help you understand sort of the value of the new ChemDraw within Signals. I guess mention that we didn't take away good old ChemDraw. It's still part of the product, right? You still get your desktop product and you can use it the way you've used it, but you get the additional capabilities of it living and being fully integrated into the SaaS platform. Took a while to get there, but AI, I'm sure all of you are thinking about AI, right? It's in everybody's mind. We all get, directives from our, top people in the company telling us how important it is. We hear it on TV. I want to just share with you in a few minutes kind of our thoughts, where we are with this today. First of all, we think it's obviously going to revolutionize the way we all live every aspect of our lives, and it will be even more so within our space in scientific software. There's no question about it. But who is Revvity within that? Today, we don't see ourselves as, building new models and investing hundreds of millions of dollars into large language models that are optimized for science or developing complex algorithms to do this. This is not, I think, where we are going to excel. We're going to excel because we have the platform already. We have the scientists that need those tools, and we can integrate all those capabilities into our platform. So that's why I chose the word pragmatic. We're going to be very, very pragmatic about how we go about delivering AI capabilities. We've already started a bunch of prototypes and work that will see the light of day over the next few releases of Signals. Some very exciting stuff. In some ways, it's straightforward, but it's valuable. It's pragmatic. It's going to help. Just a couple of examples here. On the left-hand side, you see a prototype we're launching next month for chemical reaction recommendation engine. So this is a deep neural network algorithm that we got from a collaborator that we're testing out. We're looking for chemists to try it out and let us know how good it is. Basically, you draw a chemical reaction within the platform using ChemDraw, and it automatically offers you suggestions about what catalysts you might want to use, about what are the appropriate reaction conditions to use for the reaction, about potential side products that you need to watch out for, offers solvents and opinions of what would make the reaction run better. This can also learn from your own knowledge, from your own reaction databases, from your own notebook over time. Today is built from a curated set of reactions. But the most important thing is that it's fully integrated, right? It's like as you're doing your thinking, as you're doing your planning, as you're doing your reaction ideation, you can get the recommendations from the engine. Another exciting one, this one really literally came out of testing last week, is we've integrated large language model semantic searching into the Signals platform. For those of you that are familiar, what you see is the standard search screen where you could type any text. Normally, today, when you type text, you expect to find something that matches the text that you have in your documents, right? A word match or an exact match. What we've done here is just simply added a button to that text box where you change the behavior, where it becomes semantic search rather than direct word match. So now you can type a question, you can type a set of words, you can type a set of terms, and behind the scenes is the same technology that's used by ChatGPT. It's an embedded model of the content of the notebook, and it responds with semantic knowledge. You might say very dark, and what you get is a document about the clips that doesn't say very dark, that actually understands that, what you really mean there. An amazing thing, it still blows my mind, is that it's multilingual. Even if the content is in English, if you ask the question in French or in Chinese, it will find the right answer because the large language model understands the intent, the meaning of the query, right? We have another half a dozen or so similar things where we're using this kind of commoditized technology that's already available and integrating it into the platform. And so there's an obvious advantage in that, which is that it's convenient. Why should the user have to go over to ChatGPT to ask for a summary of the information in their scientific journal? Or why should they go and take a preparation section of a notebook and have ChatGPT improve their writing? That should happen directly in the product and make it easy to do. But most importantly, make it secure. The main thing we set out to do with this project was to ensure that it could be done within our platform your intellectual property is never leaving that cone of trust, the Signals platform, which you already trust, which you've already validated is secure. You're not sending your IP outside to whoever is the latest, greatest model. You're always within the platform. And finally, this is another large project we started earlier this year. It's a continuation, but it's large enough that's sort of in my space of looking forward. It's going to take probably a couple of years to get to maturity. But it's continuing to add tooling in molecular biology specifically. In particular, we've been told by many of our customers that the tools that exist out there for large-scale cloning and molecular biology construct build-outs are not good enough, are not scalable enough, are not flexible enough, right? There's tools out there, desktop tools and so forth. So we've launched a whole new project with 2 additional teams to build out specific cloning tools, planning tools, execution tools, many of which will dovetail directly with the logistics I mentioned earlier, that will actually then go beyond the planning, beyond the design of the molecular constructs into the build out and automation of the production of those new therapies. So with that, I'll end here and look forward to discussions throughout the day and beyond. Thank you very much.